So I think it's another misconception that people have about libraries is that they're all about books. But a huge part of our mission with the Gunnison County Libraries is to serve people through programs, to give them opportunities to learn new things and connect with people in their community and attend free events that we host at the library about special topics such as finance or health and wellness or recreation, any sorts of things.
The library, I think, is a critical central element of any community, no matter where you are.
There are just so many services that are available and so much information that is housed in a library. And now, increasingly, with interlibrary loans so easy, wherever you are located geographically, I don't care how small the town, you can get what you need anywhere in the world through the public library system. And it's an unbelievably underutilized, underappreciated, but extraordinarily important resource for all of us.
My predecessor, Nancy Trim, did an excellent job of sort of modernizing a lot of library services. She started library programs, she started tech education, she did a marketing plan for the library. And so I came into, I guess, what I would describe as a really healthy program, public library program. And the only issues that are limiting that program from really taking off are space and funding. And so my focus in the last year and a half have been to look at the landscape in the community and start to understand how we can address space issues and funding issues for Gunnison County Libraries so that we can continue to grow a great public library program.
I'm Jill McKinney, and I am the Cataloging and Digital Initiatives Coordinator for Gunnison County Library District. So what that means is I'm in charge of cataloging first and foremost. All the books that come in, all the movies, all the audiobooks, everything that goes out into the library. If I don't catalog it personally, I am responsible for helping the people who do catalog it. So there's about three or four of us that work on cataloging for the district. The digital initiatives coordinator part, that's a bit more vague, and it was left that way intentionally. It's so that I can work on any kind of technological stuff that comes up that might benefit the district, might benefit the patrons. Right now that mostly looks like working on our digital archive database. We finished doing the Cattlemen's Days historical database last year, so now we are working on a database of all the cemeteries in Gunnison County. Like I say, it's just one of the best libraries that I've ever been to. Definitely one of the best that I've ever worked at. All the people in the community really come in and really seem to appreciate it, really seem to enjoy it, really seem to get a lot of use out of it. It's very welcoming to visitors.
My name is Taylor Cole, and I am the Library Technician 2 for the Gunnison County Libraries. So as part of my responsibilities as a Library Technician 2, because I'm not a full librarian, I think that's actually a misconception that people have, is to earn the librarian title you have to have a master's degree in library and information science. So I'm technically a library paraprofessional, but what falls under my realm of responsibility is marketing and advertising for both the Gunnison and Crested Butte branches. The other realm of my responsibility as a library technician is that I coordinate the adult programs for both branches. So I work to try to figure out what folks in the community think would be interesting to have as a library program. So I was first hired at the library of January this year, January 2019, and I previously reached out to Drew about the October before this past January in an effort to actually just volunteer at the library. I was at the time working for the marketing communications department at Western, and I decided throughout that past year or two that I wanted to start working in the libraries. I knew that library science was a field that I wanted to go into because I really resonate with the ethics of libraries and the fact that they're a free public institution that is so vital to our society. I knew that I wanted to dedicate my life to public service through the libraries. And so I sent Drew an email, do you have any volunteer opportunities? And so then we had a meeting together, and he actually was able to secure me a full-time position.
Sir, I want to confirm that libraries now are not just places where you read. They're places where you learn, they're places where you grow, they're places where the community comes together, and there's so much more that a library does than just a place for books.
You know, libraries have really changed, and information has changed. There are more books published today than at any point in history. And libraries are in a position to connect their communities with those books. The books are not just physical, they're also digital. We've developed software platforms that allow us to obtain those digital objects, those books, and connect our communities with them. At the same time, we're still collecting significant numbers of print books all throughout the year. So this ecosystem of the book has changed and gotten bigger. There are more ideas, there are more things happening in the world that we can know about and that can make our experience better and more valuable. There's also a lot of proprietary information and public information that is available through the internet. And having a professional staff that can help guide a community to the right information for their needs and provide access to hardware and software that connect people into those troves of information is incredibly important. There is so much information available online, but libraries really put a human experience to that information so that people can connect with other people in their community, discuss ideas, engage with their friends and neighbors in a public space. And libraries have really grown their role in that way. Rather than being a storehouse for information, they're a place where new ideas are created and developed in a community way.
All the people have access, and some of the people who get this access really don't have the financial resources to access it any other way. We don't just provide books for people. We provide internet, connection to all kinds of things that you can't get here locally. Even if you're just applying for a job, most places anymore will make you fill out an application online. And if you can't afford to have internet at your house, you've just missed out on a job. We've actually just been added to the Digital Public Library of America, which means all of the stuff that I load up here into our database is searchable through Google, and it's available to anybody, anywhere with an internet connection. So it's just expanding our resources, sharing our resources, and making things available to more people.
I do. I utilize both branches of our local libraries, actually. In Gunnison, sometimes when I'm in that area, I'll swing by and see what selections they have, and then also up in Crested Butte. I am a huge data geek, so I love reading, I love learning. I try to read one book a week, and I have a lot of suggestions from friends and other folks, and I usually just try to order them online. So I'll just go online, order something I'm interested in, And then as they come in, it's really easy for me to bop over from the office and just pick up a copy.
The other night I went to a speaker in Gunnison who was speaking about their trip to Morocco and served dates and green mint tea. So the library to me is a center for a community.
You know, people learn in different ways and people connect with new ideas in different ways. One of the great things about a library is that you can come into a collection of materials that are covering a huge range of ideas, topics, and you can browse. And all of those materials are right at your fingertips, well organized, available to you, and you can discover things that you didn't even know you needed to discover, that you didn't know would improve your experience, make your life better. And it's the same thing with direct human experiences. Meeting an author and learning about how they put together stories, about how they think about ideas, learning from someone who is an expert in a professional field and can share something as simple as how to put together a will.
Another thing that I love about the libraries is they're very supportive to artists of the community in the area. By hosting showings, they've had many of my films. They've had showings at the libraries both in Gunnison and Crested Butte. They've brought in authors to talk about so many different and wonderful subjects.
Allows people to become familiar with the work even if they don't buy the book and tell other people about it. So I think these are very valuable for authors. That the library hosts a book reading.
This spring we just finished up a homesteading series where you could come to the library and learn things about like beekeeping and how to raise chickens and how to properly fence things so that your animals don't get onto your neighbor's yard, and canning, and I think they did some fiber art stuff, how to spin your own yarn and that kind of thing. So we just did a homesteader series. We've got our kids programs coming on for summer reading right now, which are always really popular. We have, folks coming in to teach the kids things. We've got nature's educators coming up, which brings in birds of prey and occasionally snakes, but mostly the birds. And they bring these different animals in for the kids to learn about and to get some experience with. And we have magicians, and we have an archaeologist entertainer coming up, Indiana Bones. And so their kids programs are always really popular, as well as just story times, art projects, reading to kids. But yeah, no, we have so many different types of programs always going on. Local history programs, geology programs, things with the National Park Service, things with the Forest Service, things with local search and rescue, just all kinds of things all the time.
So this fall, November the 5th, 2019, Gunnison County Library District is asking a question on the ballot to fund services, operations, programming, and collections. So right now, the Library District has no source of sustainable funding. Our libraries could be defunded at any time. This question will, number one, solve that situation to where we do have sustainable funding for library services in Gunnison County. If the question passes, we will expand collections, expand programs, expand services. We'll add a whole suite of services for young adults. We will grow our children's programming and early literacy programming. We will be able to double the amount of electronic downloadable content that's available, and we'll be able to add a third more to our physical collections each year. So it'll be a much nicer public library experience for our community, and it will be sustainable. If the question passes in November, Gunnison County has agreed to fund facility improvements out of existing funds. So this question will not raise debt for our community. It will fund our library operations sustainably, allow them to grow, and Gunnison County will support facility improvements with existing dollars. If the question does not pass, then nothing happens. No facility improvements will take place. The library will continue to exist in its current space, and there will be no expansion in services.
Well, I think libraries are essential for civilization, and just as I think education is essential for civilization, and I think property taxes increase the more civilization increases. So that if you want a high level of community, you want a high level of civilization locally, support your public library, support your public schools.
I just love libraries.